Hello and welcome to this Dynamic Web webinar. Today I'm going to talk about some new cool template features that we have implemented in Dynamicweb 8.2, and I will also talk a little bit about some future enhancements we have planned. I hope you can all hear me out there. I've had a few problems with my machine here, but please let me know if you cannot hear what I'm saying. So let's get started. Here's the agenda for today, this webinar. First, I'll talk a bit about if expressions, then something about website item types, something that we also has talked about as template constants, and I'll talk about template tag methods and some future enhancements, and finally we'll end this session with questions from you guys, hopefully. In if expressions in the templates, we have implemented two new features. One is else parts, so you can have if something, then some template, else another template. And we've also implemented Boolean operators in conditions. And I'll show you these in now. In the else part, now when we have an if expression in a template, we can now use else to split. So if we have a if some condition, then we'll render this template. Otherwise, we'll render this template. And we should note here that nested if-else constructs are currently not supported. We have some issues with those. I'll just switch over to a demo website containing a template where I'm using some of the stuff I'll be talking about today. I'll just find in the file manager I have created an example webinar template, and I'll just pull up the master template, which is the file we'll be using for examples today. And as an example of using the if-else construct, I have here near the top of my page, if I can show you in the front page, we have this sign in button over here with just username and password, and I can press sign in, then I'm signed in and I can sign out. This is implemented using a template markup like this. We have if an extranet user is logged in, i.e. the extranet user ID is bigger than 0, then we'll show the welcome message and the username and have a sign out button. Otherwise, in the else part, we will show a sign in form, basically a very simple sign in form, as you may know. So, and this is a lot easier to write. This sign in or sign out form using if else rather than using two ifs as we had to do before these new implementations. So that's pretty easy. I'll touch more on the if else and some examples coming up in a short while. So that's if else, just as you know it from other programming languages, basically. Another feature in the if expressions is that we can use and or operators in our conditions in the templates, and this of course also works with else. I'll just pop back to my master template to show you an example. Down here we have an if with a condition containing and. So if some tag, and I'll get back to what this tag means in a few seconds. So we ask if this tag has a value that is not empty and the tag value is not none, then do something, render this navigation as it is. So that's basically it. We can now in if expressions we can have else parts, which makes a lot of templating stuff a lot easier, and we can use Boolean operators in the conditions for the if expressions, and that's also a nice feature. The next thing up is something called website item types. And as you have probably heard, we've introduced item-based structures in Dynamicweb recently. And we've had a feature request coming up from quite a few partners, and I've had the idea myself to make it possible to add some settings to a website, some custom settings that I can use in my templates. And this has all been made possible now using the item types that we can associate with a website. I'll just jump back to my administration here in, sorry, I've been logged out. Just log in again. In the management center, under item types, I have created a new item type called website settings. And it's just something I've made up for the purpose of this webinar. But I think it illustrates the purpose of and the usefulness of the item types. I have two groups of settings in my item, and one is a skin. That's a drop-down list where I can pick a skin, and that's for skinning my front end. So I have a red skin and a blue skin, and I have some navigation position. That's also a drop-down list where I have no navigation, or I have the navigation on the left side or on the right side. And I have some class names. It's just a text, and I have a Google Analytics tracker ID. That's also just a text. So that's an item I've created, and I will not get into details on how to work with items and create new item types. But I'll jump back to the content, and then I will edit my website or my area. And up here we have a new button called item type, where I can choose to attach an item type to this website. The default is that no items are attached to the website, but I've attached my website setting. And attaching an item type to a website means that all the settings or the properties of the item will be editable on the website properties. So down here I have the editing of the item for this website. So I have my skin selector as a drop down where I can pick one of the values I've specified. I have the navigation position and have class names where I can add some stuff. So it's a corporate website. So these class names are intended to be used in a class attribute in the HTML. And I can specify more than one. International, national, say, and I can add those. And I will then get these values as a comma separated values. And I have a Google Analytics tracker ID down here. So for now, I'll just leave these settings as they are now, and then I'll save my area. Now going back to my front page and my template, I'll just put in a DW template tag to see what template tags I have available in my template. I'll reload the page. And then we have all the templates tags as you know and love them. And down at the bottom here we have prefixed add item dot area dot the properties of the item settings I've just defined. So see, I have the class names, and I had two values in the list, and they will be rendered separated by a comma. I have the Google Analytics tracker ID, and I have an area ID as well. That's the item ID, and I have a navigation position that is none, and then I have a skin that's empty. So before going into details with how I'm using the tags in the template, I'd just like to show the effect they have. So I go back to editing my website. I'll just refresh the front end without the template. So this is how the website looks with the default item settings. And just to show you how it can be used, I'll choose another skin. I'll choose the red skin and reload the front page. So now I have a red or pinkish skin on my web page. and it's basically the way I'm using the skin item property is just like up here. I have an if a non-empty if an empty skin has been selected, I no value has been selected, then I use the default skin. Otherwise, I use a CSS file having the same name as the value of the skin attribute on the area item. So that's very simple. And further down, I use the if expression using the and Boolean operator. So I say if the navigation position is not empty and it's not none, then I'll render some markup. So jumping back to the area editing, I'll choose to have my navigation at the right, the navigation position. I'll save the website and refresh the page. So now you can see that a navigation, simple navigation, appears here at the right, and I can switch it to the left if I prefer that. And of course, I can change a lot of stuff, and just go blue because that's a little easy on the eyes. So now we're back. So basically, website item types are ways of adding configuration settings or settings in general to websites, and the settings can be used in templates. And this opens up a lot of possibilities for customizing templates and reusing templates across different websites. For instance, if I created a new website in my solution, I can use the exact same template, and then I could just say that on my main website the skin is the blue one, and on the another website the skin should be red, and I can hide the navigation or put it to the right or to the left to do something. So it makes it a lot easier to reuse templates across websites. And I personally, I think it's a really cool feature that will make templating a lot easier. So jumping back to the master templates, see down here I also use the Google Analytics Tracker ID to insert the Google Analytics code if one has been specified. So that's website item types, a really cool feature, and I urge you to play around with it and create a new item. It's really simple, and if you aren't familiar with how items work, I can recommend that you watch the videos of the webinars that Paul has given. It's a really nice introduction to a really cool feature in Dynamic Web. So another much needed, in my opinion, feature in the templating is a way to encode template tag values. I like to always generate XHTML or XHTML5, and sometimes I run into problems in Dynamic Web with having non-HTML encoded values. For instance, if an ampersand is in the page title or something, I'm generating invalid XHTML because the ampersand should be escaped or encoded. And this is possible now using just any template tag. You can postfix with dot and then HTML encoded and parentheses to signal that it's actually a method that is being invoked on the value of the tag. And we've implemented 3 of these right now. There's the HTML encoding. I'll show you an example just in a few seconds. There's JavaScript encoding. And what JS encode does is that it escapes the template tag value in a way that so that it's safe to wrap the value in quotes, singular, double quotes, and use it as a JavaScript string constant. And we can also URL encode a value. And I'll just jump back to my master template and show you a few examples. So you might all already have noticed that I've actually shown you examples where I'm using these stuff just to make it clear. Here I have the global page name, and I'm HTML encoding that. And the main reason for that is I've come up with this somewhat stupid page name. It contains some regular text and an ampersand, and then two double quotes. And what I'm doing in the master template down on this share this page on Facebook is use this link uses a lot of the new features. So I'll jump down to that. Oh, so sorry, I'm confusing myself. I should the page name is HTML encoded, meaning that this ampersand is actually rendered as ampersand AMP semicolon. So that's one way to do it if you want to make sure that something is valid HTML or XHTML. Use of the JS encoded we have down here. Sometimes we want to create a JavaScript object constant containing some data from the page view object or the page object. And I've done this down here. But on this page, it will be I will generate a JavaScript error, syntax error, if I just put this text into a JavaScript variable or constant. So but when I JS encode the value, then it works. I can show you the source to the top right here. Oh, sorry, that's not it. It's here we have it. You can see that this settings, that's the page name, has been encoded for JavaScript. The ampersand has been converted into a Unicode character escape, and the two double quotes have been escaped as well. So when you use JS encode, you can wrap the value in single or double quotes for creating a JavaScript string constant. And just to show you what, it's just a toy example I've created here, but I'm also using the URL encoding for actually creating a link so I can share the current page on Facebook. So what I do is down here in the link, in the href attribute, I call this Facebook page. Then I have to send along a parameter called u, and it should be the URL of the page I want to share. And I have to URL encode this to make sure that it's a valid URL in the href attribute. So I'm just using the global request absolute URI tag, as you know, and then I'm just adding the .ul encoded to it, and then the system will URL encode the value. So you can see down here, if I hover above this link at the bottom of the screen, you can hopefully see that actually the browser shows the way it should be read. But you can see here in the source of the page on the top right that a lot of encoding has gone into this to form a valid URL that I can use in my link. And I'm also using the JavaScript object so when I click this link, I show a confirm message if I really want to share the page called settings and stuff in quotes. And this works because I'm able to JavaScript encode this value and put it into this data object. And you can see that the link actually works. Apart from the fact I'm not logged into Facebook, I can do that if I can remember the password. So now we see that I'm sharing this URL. That's the page of my demo website. So that's template tag methods, as we're calling them, to make sure that it's something new and methods. So yes, that's the HTML encoding, JavaScript encoding, and UL encoding of template tag values. Really nice and useful feature. Something that we're planning right now and have started working on is making these template tag methods even more powerful, because we use the parentheses to make it easier to find the template tag methods in the template. And then it's obvious that we should extend this with letting template tag methods accept parameters that can do something. And one thing that would be nice to have is the ability to replace something in a template tag value when the template is rendered. And just as an example here, if I'm using the classes item property, that's a list of values in the website settings. If I want to use those as CSS classes, I have to I get a comma separated list of values, but I need a white space or space separated list of values. So if I can use this replace function, then I just take the classes and replace a comma with a space and use it as a CSS class. So that's one of the features we will implement and have started work on. And another thing is that we are will make it possible for you or a developer to create custom template tag methods. And basically, it's you can come up with a needed template tag. So you could do it by creating custom template tags using a template extender today, but it might make the template easier to read and to write if you can just add some your own custom functions. So just as an example, like see, down here I have the global page name, and then I've invented some method called crop, and the idea is that it'll show if the page name contains more than 20 characters, then it will crop the page name value to 20 characters and possibly add 3 dots at the end or something. Or it could create some generic template method that will join some values with a comma. Of course, I can write this string as a comma b comma c, but just to show the example of some of the possibilities that you will have for creating your own custom methods. Another future enhancement that we are looking at is to make it possible to make page links using navigation tags, because sometimes today you have to hard code a page ID into the template. And of course, we can work around this using item types on websites. For instance, on the item type, we could create a property where we could choose or specify the page ID of a checkout page or a show cart page, and then we can use the website item property in the template. But another idea is to make it possible to use the navigation tags of pages. So so we can just write something like this at the bottom. So it's a link as we know it, where we have the ID parameter, and today we would write ID equals 27 or something. But it makes it easier to reuse a template if we can just write something like this, and then the system will find a page having the navigation tag cart on the current website and insert that page ID. So we will get a link just as we used before, as we're used to hard code, but without the hard coding part. So that's something that will clean up a lot of templates as well. So that's basically it from now for this brief introduction to some of the new features and a look ahead to some of the future enhancements that we'll put into the system. And of course, we'll have some more webinars coming up next Thursday. It's email marketing, and as always, you can find the full list on our webinars page. And then finally, one more thing. You may have heard that Dynamicweb is holding a tech conference this year at the end of February. And on this conference, we will present some more cool dynamic web features, both back-end programming, front-end programming, and you will have your say. You can come with suggestions, and we can have a lot of discussion, hopefully, and have a good time together. And it's no sales crap. It's tech stuff. It will be hardcore tech stuff, and it will be nerdy. It will be cool and great for geeks. So you can sign up now or read more about the conference on this link down here. So that's it from right now. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar, and if you have any questions, then feel free to ask. I can see there is already a few questions. Yeah, there's a question on whether it's possible to use else if. That's not possible right now. So I'll just show. It's something that we have been discussing, but it's not easy to implement. The idea, the question is if you can write if something, then something, and write something like this, else if another condition. If I understand, this must be the question. And the answer is that this is not possible right now. We may implement this feature at some later point, but right now we only support if, else, and end if. And as I noted, nested else, if, else are not supported. So you cannot or should not actually. In some cases it can be handled, but no guarantees are given on whether it will work or not. So stuff like this will. Sorry, I need an else down. This will not work, and Ima has put up a blog post recently where he managed to crash his system using stuff like this. So basically, what we support right now using if and else is if, else, end if, and no nesting of if, else, and no else if as of now. But we might implement it in the future. Yeah. Then there's a question on if website settings can be shared through XML like any other item types. I'm not sure I understand that question. Maybe I should get back to you, to the asker, about this. And there's a question if the encoding options apply when using XSLT. No, they do not. There you have to encode yourself. But when you're using XSLT, you don't need the HTML encoding because you're generating XML or HTML and JavaScript. You have to handle in the XSLT JavaScript encoding. Yeah, then there's a suggestion that we should make it possible to share the custom template tag methods, and that's a really good suggestion, and we should definitely find a way to do this. And then there's a question on whether it is possible or will be possible to chain method calls, for instance, to write. The question is if it will be possible to write something like this, i.e. having a tag and then first calling the replace method, then calling a trim method, and then calling a substring method. It's not possible right now, and we have to consider if we can do it or if it will be. We have to look into that. But it's a nice feature to have, and it's a good suggestion. So we'll think about that and get back to you. Okay. Yeah. Then there's something that a comment from Sten Hauger: string manipulation in XSLT can be hard, and I couldn't agree more. Um, Okay, there's a question from Sten as well. I have to get back to you with answers on your questions, Sten. So about the XML and the item types. So I'll get in touch with you. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I will thank you for hearing my what I had to say, and I hope you will find these new features useful. I like them, and I look forward to using some of the more in real life implementations, and also use some of the future enhancements. So okay, there's a final question here. When will these features be around? All the features I've mentioned today are implemented in the release that came out yesterday, the 8.2.1 version of Dynamicweb. So you have the if else, and you have the Boolean operators in if conditions, and you have the three template tag methods: HTML encode, JavaScript encode, and URL encode. So you can use these today. So if there are no more questions, I'll say thank you once again, and please come back for more webinars. Thank you. Bye bye.